What if I told you there is a country in Europe where you can experience landscapes comparable to Norway's fjords, the Swiss Alps, and the Croatian coast for a fraction of the price? A place where medieval stone towns sit beneath massive mountains, where turquoise rivers cut through Europe's deepest canyon, where you can drink coffee beside the Adriatic Sea in the morning and stand above alpine lakes by sunset. That place is Montenegro, one of the most geographically dramatic countries in Europe, and still one of the most affordable. A traveler spending €200 per day in Switzerland or Norway could experience Montenegro for less than half that amount. Mid-range travel here often ranges between €50 to €80 per day, including accommodation, transportation, regional cuisine, and intercity travel. Mountain guest houses remain significantly cheaper than alpine resorts. Fresh seafood along the coast is still relatively affordable. And unlike many overcrowded European hotspots, parts of Montenegro still feel undiscovered. But Montenegro's true power is not just affordability, it is verticality. Nearly 80% of the country is mountainous terrain. This is not simply a Mediterranean beach destination. It is a compressed earthscape where mountains collide directly with the sea. And once you enter its terrain, you realize Montenegro feels far larger than it actually is. The strategic position of Montenegro. Montenegro sits along the Adriatic coast in the Western Balkans, bordered by Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Kosovo, and Albania. Historically, this small mountain state survived empires because of its terrain. Ottoman expansion struggled in these mountains. Venetian influence shaped the coastline. Orthodox monasteries emerged in isolated valleys and cliffs. And even today, geography still controls life here. The name Montenegro itself means Black Mountain, a reference to the dark mountain forest surrounding Mount Lovćen. Despite being smaller than many global cities, Montenegro contains extraordinary geographic diversity: Mediterranean coastline, karst limestone mountains, dense forests, deep canyons, and glacial alpine lakes. In a single day, you can transition between completely different worlds. That terrain compression is what makes Montenegro feel cinematic almost constantly. Visa, intelligence, and entry logistics. Montenegro occupies a very unusual geopolitical position. It uses the euro. But it is not part of the European Union, and it is not inside the Schengen area. For travelers, this creates both advantages and confusion. Citizens from the European Union, United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and several other countries can generally enter Montenegro visa-free for up to 90 days. But there is another important category many travelers overlook. Citizens from countries such as India, China, and parts of the Middle East can often enter Montenegro visa-free for up to 30 days. If they already hold a valid multiple-entry Schengen visa, US visa, UK visa, or Irish visa. This makes Montenegro an extremely strategic extension destination for travelers already exploring Europe. However, immigration rules can change, so always verify the latest requirements before booking flights. Another important operational detail: foreign nationals must register their stay within 24 hours of arrival. Hotels normally handle this automatically, but if you stay in private apartments or Airbnb rentals, you may need to register personally through a tourist information office or local authorities. Ignoring this can result in fines during departure. Most travelers enter through Podgorica Airport or via Dubrovnik in Croatia, and the coastal drive from Dubrovnik into Montenegro is one of Europe's most visually dramatic border crossings. The Bay of Kotor, the Adriatic fjord. The Bay of Kotor is Montenegro's global signature. Technically, it is not a true fjord. It is a submerged river canyon known as a ria. But visually, it absolutely feels like one. Dark limestone mountains descend directly into deep blue water. Medieval towns sit beneath towering cliffs. Church towers rise beside narrow stone alleyways. and fortress walls climb mountainsides with almost impossible precision. Kotor itself is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The old town feels like a surviving fragment of medieval Venice. Cats sleep beside centuries-old churches. Stone pathways twist through hidden courtyards, and every corner feels layered with history. Then comes the fortress climb. More than 1,300 stone steps rising toward St. John's Fortress. The ascent is physically demanding, especially during summer. But the panoramic reward is extraordinary. From above, the bay unfolds like a geological blueprint. This is where Montenegro reveals its true identity. A collision points between sea and mountain. Nearby Paris offers a quieter atmosphere. A baroque town facing tiny islands floating in the bay. At sunrise, the water becomes mirror-like, and the entire landscape begins to resemble a fantasy film rather than a real place. Durmitor and the Terra Canyon, the wild north. Most tourists never fully understand Montenegro because they never leave the coastline. But the soul of the country exists in the north. Durmitor National Park is one of Europe's great alpine wilderness regions. 48 peaks rise above 2,000 meters. Dense pine forests cover mountain valleys. And glacial lakes appear between massive limestone formations. The most famous lake here is Crno Jezero, Black Lake. Its dark, reflective surface mirrors the surrounding mountains with surreal clarity. Fog drifts across the water during autumn mornings. Snow transforms the forest in winter. And during summer, hikers arrive from across Europe. Then comes the Tara River Canyon, the deepest canyon in Europe, cutting more than 1,300 meters into the earth. The Tara River glows with an unreal turquoise color, almost artificial, almost digitally enhanced, but completely real. The Đurđevića Tara Bridge spans the canyon like a suspended engineering experiment. Standing there creates a strange emotional effect. You suddenly realize how small human structures appear beside geological time. For adventure travelers, this region is paradise. Rafting, ziplining, hiking, mountain driving, camping, drone cinematography. Montenegro compresses extreme terrain into relatively short travel distances. And that operational efficiency makes exploration surprisingly accessible. Budva, the Adriatic coast and summer atmosphere. While Kotor dominates Montenegro's cinematic identity, Budva represents its energetic coastal side. Budva is one of the oldest settlements on the Adriatic, but today it functions as Montenegro's tourism engine. During summer, beaches become crowded with travelers from across Europe. Luxury yachts appear beside old fishing boats. Beach clubs operate until sunrise, and the coastline transforms into a Mediterranean nightlife corridor. Yet even here, Montenegro still feels more accessible than many Western European destinations. You can still find affordable guest houses, local bakeries selling fresh burek, family-run seafood restaurants, and coastal viewpoints without massive entry fees. A short distance away lies Sveti Stefan, perhaps Montenegro's most iconic island image. A fortified stone village connected to the mainland by a narrow causeway. It has become one of the most photographed locations in the Balkans, especially during golden hour. Culture, history, and the Balkan atmosphere. Montenegro is not only beautiful, it carries deep historical layers. Romans, Venetians, Ottomans, Slavic kingdoms, Orthodox Christian traditions, Catholic coastal influences. All collided here over centuries. That collision created a unique Balkan atmosphere. Mountain monasteries hidden inside cliffs, stone villages where time appears frozen, and cafes where people sit for hours simply talking and watching life pass slowly. Unlike heavily commercialized tourist economies, Montenegro still feels human. You may see fishermen repairing nets beside luxury yachts, old grandmothers selling homemade cheese near mountain roads, or shepherds guiding animals across highland landscapes. The pace here is slower, less artificial, less optimized for mass tourism, and perhaps that authenticity is becoming one of Europe's rarest luxuries. Final notes for travelers and creators. For creators and drone operators, Montenegro has regulations that should not be ignored. Drone importation and usage may require permits depending on equipment category and filming purpose. Always verify the latest rules before arrival. Weather conditions can also change rapidly in the mountains. A sunny Adriatic coastline can become dense fog at higher elevations within hours. But maybe that unpredictability is part of Montenegro's power. This is a country where geography still dominates human experience, where mountains dictate roads, where coastlines collide directly with vertical stone walls, and where some of Europe's greatest landscapes remain surprisingly accessible. Montenegro is not merely a destination. It is a compressed earthscape, a place where the planet reveals its raw architecture in dramatic form. And once you experience its fortress towns, alpine lakes, canyon bridges, and Adriatic cliffs, you begin to understand why this small Balkan nation leaves such a massive impression. This is Montenegro, Europe's vertical frontier, and perhaps one of the most underrated travel experiences on Earth. For more cinematic geography and tactical travel breakdowns, subscribe to Kukunalam Virtual Earthscape.